Hello, I'm Richard Gisbert, and you're at The Listening Post. This week, Thailand.
Is this a real coup?
And where the coup has left journalism in that country. 3 major newspapers in Spain all replaced their chief editors. Politics or economics or both. Julian Assange and Glenn Greenwald, for once, they're not on the same page. And Japan is not a backwards country. It just looks that way in our web video of the week. Thailand and its media are under the control of the army once again. The coup d'etat declared May 22nd, Thailand's 5th since 1977, brought an end to another democratically elected government. The last time this happened was in 2006 when Thaksin Shinawatra, a business tycoon with major media holdings, was overthrown. This time it was his sister Yingluck being ousted, although Thaksin was seen as the exiled power behind the throne, so to speak, pulling the strings from Dubai. Thailand's new military leader is General Prayuth Chan-o-cha, and when martial law was declared on the general's orders, nearly half of the provisions in that law dealt specifically with the Thai media and freedom of expression. Since then, some journalists have been arrested, others have been schooled on how to report the coup, all intended to put a lid on a media debate that's partisan and often highly politicized. But is this a temporary setback for media freedom in Thailand, or a sign of more permanent things to come? Our starting point this week is Bangkok. May 20th, and the Thai military declares martial law. It's 2014, but the announcement by General Chan-o-cha, made at a desk to a single camera against a drab background, looked like something out of the 1970s.
ขอให้ทุกพวกทุกฝ่ายนั้นหยุดการเคลื่อนไหว
That same day, all television and radio stations, except the military channel, are shut down. 3 days later, the operators of the country's ISPs, its internet service providers, are called in and given their marching orders by the military. As one official explained, this is not censorship at all, but a blockade of only content or websites, which may cause conflict and unrest and a threat to national security. The next day, May 24th, there was a similar meeting, with the army calling in the editors of 18 major newspapers. In the space of just 5 days, the media in Thailand, mainstream TV and radio, new media, as well as print, all saw the rules of reporting change.
So when the martial law was declared on 20th of May, it was clear that one of the targets that they wanted to control was the media. What is different from the previous coup is that in the past it was targeted at the red faction. But in this case, we've seen that the orders have gone out to the media of both factions, the competing ones, so the red and the yellow.
And here we're talking about particularly Asia Update, which is associated with the red shirt movement of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, or for example the Blue Sky channel, which is closely associated with the PDRC, the protesters who were occupying parts of Bangkok for several months from November and December onwards. Those stations are much more partisan, agitating the masses and moving things in particular direction.
กำนันแกประกาศว่าวันนี้เนี่ยเราต้องแสดงตนให้ชัดเจนว่ารักชาติ So
the military is uncomfortable with this kind of television station.
In the first order, it was a blanket ban on everyone. Since then, they have lifted the suspension for the cable free-to-air stations, but it's under strict conditions. So there are limits to what content can be aired. There are limits to who they can interview, and also there's basically a prohibition to air content that would be critical of the decisions that have come. And I think that this is really to sort of stop any more of the contents that they think would be divisive.
The new government issued 12 provisions in its martial law declaration, a 12-step program of sorts to rehabilitate Thai democracy. Some of those provisions were standard martial law fare, the imposition of a curfew limiting public gatherings. But 6 of the 12 provisions related directly to the media, a reflection of where the country's new leaders think that any challenge to their rule may come from.
The past few years of Thai politics, various media, whether radio, televisions, these social medias and so on, have taken a sort of very partisan position, supporting the government side and some support the anti-government side. And I think that has led to more antagonism. So what the military is trying to do is for the media to report on the facts, on the actual situation, to be more informative rather than to pose questions that might lead to more anger.
And they don't want to encourage people to stand up and oppose the military. But also with the foreign media, they don't want the kind of debates that normally take place on foreign media between those who oppose to the coup and those who support the coup to take place.
Is there a real coup going on? Please tell us.
Please,
is this a real coup?
No. Sorry, I don't know anything.
They're worried that people in Thailand will see this, but they don't want too much made of this whole issue of whether or not the coup is justified or not.
I've covered 3 coups d'etat, and I've observed that military control of the media is exerted in the beginning to try to get us to adapt our reporting within a certain framework. It doesn't mean that they will control us for the long term. It wouldn't be possible anyway. There has never been any junta in the past that has been successful in doing so.
The media landscape in Thailand today took shape in the late 1990s when the government first allowed privately owned channels to share the airwaves with the state-owned broadcaster, Thai PBS. But the big change came in 2000 when Thaksin Shinawatra, a business tycoon who already owned the country's largest mobile phone provider and a cable TV company, bought an ailing television channel, ITV, and made it his own. 1 year later, in 2001, he was elected prime minister. Shinawatra's understanding of how modern media work and the fact he owned so much media paved his way to power in Bangkok.
Thaksin was one of the people who really saw the potential of mobile phones and satellites to transform the way that messages reached people. He used radio to communicate to people very strong messages and also to empower new groups of voters who had been neglected by previous leaders. And that's one of the key reasons why pro-Thaksin parties were able to win every election that's been held in Thailand since 2001.
In fact, we had less freedom of expression as a result of Thaksin's growing control of the media. Thaksin used his influence with editors to shape the coverage. The media felt pressured into complying. So to now claim that the media has lost its freedom of expression as a result of the coup d'etat is not right. We've had our freedom of press infringed upon for a long time, since Thaksin's era.
The question now becomes how long until the Thai media are allowed to operate freely once again? How long until democracy is restored? On May 26th, General Chen Ocha met the media for the first time and showed little tolerance for their questions. End of news conference, as well as end of media freedom in Thailand, at least for the time being.
I am not speaking in favor of the coup. I believe in freedom of expression. But if democracy, as we see it, is hurting us, if someone who comes into power doesn't govern under the principles of democracy as practiced in the West, and instead drags the country backwards, the media sector needs to reevaluate its understanding of democracy and allow for a group of people to come in and reform the system. However, if the junta drags its feet and holds on to power, the media won't stand for it.
The threats to freedom of expression in Thailand, particularly with the media, exacerbates everything. The military control exacerbates everything. It is not a temporary situation. The threats facing the media, internally and externally, will continue. There also needs to be a reform, but it cannot come from the military. It has to come from the media, about media itself.
Our Global Village Voices now on the current state of journalism in Thailand.
Thai military had to control the media to stop the escalating tension in the country, potentially fueled by unconfirmed reports in the media. I think some of these reports may have played a contributing role in the current situation the country is facing, and as a result, the military felt that the media had to be kept in check. But I don't think this has made a difference to the situation in the country, because the ease of access that social media provides does make it possible for news coverage to bypass the mainstream media and get it right to the user.
In each of Thailand's military-led coups, there have been restrictions placed on media and efforts made to silence criticism and dissent. Yet in some ways, so far, this coup is proving unique. Recent developments have seen the army display almost a complete disregard for maintaining even the appearance of a free press in Thailand. For now, Thailand remains a deeply polarized country with a deeply polarized media. For the press in Thailand, it seems the situation is likely to become far worse before it gets better.
Time now for Listening Post News Bites. An Italian photo